If riding a bike is a big part of your life as a commuter or an athlete, you might find that riding the same routes day after day might get a little stagnant. So for many cyclists, this is where bikepacking comes in. Great adventures await you amidst stunning scenery and tucked away trails just begging to be explored. But first, you might be asking yourself, what kind of bike do I need? As the saying goes, the best bike is the one you have right now. But if you want to set yourself up for the least amount of stress and the most success on your first bikepacking trip, you might want to look into getting yourself a touring-specific bike. There are so many different shapes, sizes, and styles that bikepackers can choose from, but there are a few things that these bikes have in common that make them well suited to bikepacking. Using Schwinn's Vantage RX-1 adventure bike, let's take a close look at these specs. For starters, you'll want a frame with clearance for bigger tires. Narrow tires that work well in a city and on paved roads are less ideal for bikepacking where the terrain can be a little unpredictable. This particular frame can fit tires up to 44 millimeters in size, which means you'll have the option to play around with different sizes of tires and styles like knobby tires, and you'll always be able to switch out your tires depending on which type of ground you'll be covering on your trip. Rest assured that whatever tire size you choose, you'll be able to fit most of them on this frame. Generally, you want to make sure your frame can fit at least 32s, especially if you're a beginner. Wider tires will give you more traction, making it easier to handle your bike on uneven ground. And that's one less thing for you to worry about as you set out to blaze your own trails. Next is geometry. You want your bike to have a relaxed feel to it, as you're going to be spending many hours in the saddle covering ground. If the geometry of your frame is too aggressive or too race-focused, you might find yourself getting more uncomfortable as the ride goes on, especially with the added weight of all of your gear. The bike should allow your positioning to be upright and comfortable, with your weight centered and low so that you can steer easily and keep control of your loaded-up machine. This usually comes with a more relaxed design on your bike, with features like an angled head tube and a sloped top tube. Bikes that are suited to bikepacking typically also have a longer wheelbase, which is the distance from the rear dropouts to the dropouts on the fork. A longer wheelbase is ideal for stability and balance, so you can keep your bike steady with the weight of a heavy load and on tricky terrain. It also means more surface area on the whole frame itself, and more space means more places to put things. And trust me, you're going to have a lot of things. Next up is mounts. Though not a strict requirement, many touring bikes are outfitted with mounts, usually on the fork, seat stays, and down tube. These mounts allow different mechanisms to be attached to the frame using screws. Mounts will open you up to a whole world of options for carrying things on your bike and provide you with a more secure way of packing all of your gear. The more secure and tight everything is fitted to your frame, the less you'll have to stop when things fall or shift or move around. After you've taken all these points into consideration and found the perfect bike for you, you might be on the fence a little in terms of sizing. Whereas for racing or training, many cyclists will prefer to size down so that they have a smaller bike to whip around. You might want to size up for bikepacking. It's better to choose a frame that is a little bit on the bigger side so that you're comfortable and relaxed, as opposed to a frame that's a little bit on the small side, which can lead to you being cramped up and very uncomfortable. So those are some tips to start you off on your search for the touring bike that's best for you. Good luck and happy trails!